Apple pie is my favorite thing to make. There just is not a store-bought version that is better than one that you can make at home. For this recipe, I typically make my own pie crust. Start by grating or using a food processor to cut up 1 cup of unsalted butter. Set aside and combine 2.5 cups of flour, 1 tablespoon of granulated sugar, and 1 teaspoon of salt. Next, you're going to combine the butter and flour mixture and cut the butter in until the pieces are small but not non-existent. Add about 4 tablespoons of ice water over your dough and then knead your dough together until it sticks. Cut your dough in half and then wrap it tightly in plastic wrap and refrigerate for at least an hour. To begin making your apple pie, you're going to preheat your oven to 425 degrees Fahrenheit. Peel and core your apples and then slice them thinly or to whatever your preference is. And honestly, after discovering this apple core, I will never make apple pie any other way ever again. It makes it so simple and fast to prep all the apples. I used whatever apples I had that were on their way out, but this recipe, I believe, typically calls for about 8 apples. Next, you are going to melt half of a cup of butter in a saucepan over medium heat. Add about 3 tablespoons of flour, cooking until fragrant and once you notice a paste begin to form. Once it does, you're going to add in half of a cup of white sugar, half of a cup of brown sugar, and a quarter of a cup of water. Bring to a boil and then reduce the heat to simmer for about 5 minutes. Now, lots of people don't do this, but I like to add my apples directly to the sauce that we created. This allows the apples to kind of pre-cook a little bit. I just personally do not like hard apples in my apple pie. So set that aside and then begin to prepare your dough. I'm using a standard 9-inch size pie pan. So you want to roll out your pastry until it is about half of an inch wider than your pie pan. Once your crust is set into your pie pan, I like to go around and trim the edges. And then you can pour your apples right into your prepared crust. Next, I'm just going to prepare some lattice for the top of the pie. So I roll out my dough into about the same size as the bottom and then just cut into strips to be able to create that lattice crust. I like to lay the strips all one way to start, and then I will go back over and weave in the rest of the strips of pie crust to be able to create the look that we're going for. This is not something that I am great at. I get kind of impatient when it comes to this part of the apple pie, and it never quite looks exactly the same, but it does come out just as delicious every time I make it.